Hello and welcome to the Alpha Edge Podcast, the show for men over 50 who refuse to fade out, slow down, play small, or settle for average. I'm your host, Kevin English. I'm a healthy aging expert, coach, and founder of the Alpha Edge, and I am here to help you get and stay strong in every dimension of your life, physically, mentally, emotionally, morally, and spiritually. You're here because you're ready to reclaim your power, to own your masculinity, and lead your life with strength and purpose. If you're ready to sharpen your edge, revive your drive, and lead like a man who's built for more, you're in the right place. All right, men, let's get after it. All right, guys, welcome back. Last week, we talked about the first pillar of strength. So if you're not familiar, inside the Alpha Edge group, we've got these 5 pillars of strength that we are all working towards. That's physical strength, mental strength, emotional strength, moral strength, and spiritual strength. Last week, we talked about that physical strength dimension. This week, we're going to switch gears a little bit and we're going to talk about mental strength. And look, let's be honest, the physical strength for a lot of us, that's the easy one. I know it is for me. Look, I'm a personal trainer. I love working out. The physical strength part comes easy to me. You go to the gym, you pick up some heavy things, you put them back down, you sweat, you suffer a little, and over time, you get bigger, you get stronger. But today we're stepping into a different battlefield, one that's far more dangerous and treacherous, and it's far more important, I think, in a lot of ways, and that's the battlefield of the mind. See, most men think the fight is out there somewhere, like it's in the gym or at work or in their relationships. But the truth be told, the biggest battles you'll ever face are going to happen right between your ears. Because if your mind is weak, it doesn't matter how jacked your body is, how much money you got in your savings account, you're going to fold the second life punches you in the mouth. Mental strength isn't just about being tough. It's about being disciplined, focused, unshakable. It's about having a system. It's about keeping your cool when everything else is falling apart around you. It's about showing up, especially when you don't feel like it. And it's about staying curious, like lifelong curious, staying open to growth instead of coasting on what you already know. Now, look, I'll be honest with you guys. I've got a love-hate relationship with being wrong. On one hand, it stings my ego. I don't like it. But on the other hand, it's really the only way I grow in this dimension of mental strength. Every time I get punched in the pride, so to speak, I learn something. I evolve. I get stronger. And that's what we're talking about today, this mental pillar of strength. Because here's the truth. If your mind isn't sharp, your discipline fades, your resilience cracks, your purpose slips away. So today we're going to talk about how to build and maintain that mental edge, how to train your mind with the same intensity that you train your body. We're going to talk about how to stay humble enough to learn, hungry enough to grow, and strong enough to face reality head on, even when that reality is uncomfortable. Look, guys, this is not theory. This is training for the man who refuses to coat. So buckle up, brothers. This one's going to make you think. Let's be real here for a sec. Physical strength gets a lot of the glory. You can see a strong, fit, healthy body. You can measure it. You can post it on Instagram. But mental strength? That's the invisible engine that drives it all. Because, look, if your mind quits, your body's soon going to follow. Every man who's ever pushed through pain, every guy who's ever finished that last brutal rep, every dude who's ever rebuilt his life after hitting rock bottom, he did it because he trained his mind not to tap out when things got hard. And that's why mental strength matters. It's not just about gritting your teeth and pushing through discomfort. It's about discipline. It's about focus. It's about holding the line when everything in you wants to drift. And we live in a world that makes quitting easy and excuses even easier. Comfort has become our greatest enemy. You can have food delivered to you in 10 minutes, entertainment streaming instantly, validation in the form of a little digital heart every time you post a selfie. And the results? We're losing our tolerance for discomfort. We're becoming mentally soft. See, strength, like real strength, doesn't come from comfort. It never does. It comes from resistance. And just like your muscles grow from lifting heavy things, your mind grows from lifting heavy thoughts, from facing hard truths, from doing what's right even when that's not the easy thing to do. Mental strength is the thing that keeps you moving when motivation is gone. It's what gets you up early when the bed feels too good. It's what makes you hold your tongue when anger rises. It's what drives you to do the right thing even when no one's watching, or maybe especially when no one's watching. It is the foundation of leadership, of fatherhood, of manhood. And if you want to lead your family, your business, or even your own life, it starts in your mind. Because here's the thing, a weak mind infects everything it touches. It poisons your habits, your relationships, your purpose. But a strong mind? That's contagious too. It inspires people. It sets a standard. It builds trust and respect, both from others and from the man looking back at you in the mirror. Mental strength is what allows you to say, I'm not there yet, but I'm not stopping either. It's what separates the men who talk about discipline from the ones who actually live it out. And guys, in a culture that rewards distraction, comfort, and emotional fragility, being mentally strong makes you rare and it makes you dangerous. So, if that first pillar, the physical strength, builds the body, then this one, mental strength, this builds the man behind it. Let me ask you something. When's the last time you changed your mind about something that mattered? And I'm not talking about switching from black coffee to coffee with cream. I'm talking about something real, your beliefs, your opinions, your worldview. Because if you're like most men today, that answer is probably, it's been a while. And for some of you, it's probably been quite a while. And that might be a problem. We're living in a world where complacency is king. You don't have to think anymore. Algorithms can do it for you. Your news feed, your social media, your podcasts, they all learn exactly what you like, and then they feed you more of the same on a silver platter. They give you the opinions that make you nod in agreement, the ideas that make you feel righteous, and the echo chamber that keeps you comfortable. And guys, let's be honest here. That feels good. It feels good to be right. It feels good to have your worldview validated. It feels good to surround yourself with people who think just like you. But here's the danger. That comfort can kill your growth. When you stop being curious, when you stop being challenged, when you stop being willing to be wrong, you start dying from the inside out. That's the trap. It's this complacency trap. It's sneaky. It disguises itself as confidence. It whispers, you've got this all figured out. You've arrived. You're the expert now. But the truth is, the second you stop learning, you start decaying. And look, I'm going to be real with you. Like I said earlier, I've got this love-hate relationship with being wrong. When I realize that I've been holding on to some outdated belief or just some flat-out bad ideas, man, that kind of stings. It bruises my ego. It knocks me down a peg. But it also wakes me up. It reminds me that I'm still growing, still learning, still becoming. 10 years ago, I believed things that I don't believe anymore. And 10 years from now, I'm probably going to look back at the man I am today and think, dang, Kev, you still had a lot to learn, didn't you? And that's the whole point. That's the sign of life. You grow when you stay humble enough to admit that you don't have it all figured out. You grow when you seek out people who think differently, when you read things that make you uncomfortable, when you challenge your assumptions. If all you ever do is feed your confirmation bias, if you only listen to voices that echo your own, you're not strong, you're stuck. And that's not leadership, that's laziness. A strong man doesn't fear new information. He hunts for it. He wants to be sharpened. He knows that wisdom isn't about being right all the time. It's about constantly refining what right even means. So, if you want to keep your mental edge, if you want to sharpen your mental edge, you've got to fight complacency like your life depends on it, because it does. The minute you stop being a student, you start becoming a spectator. And spectators do not change the world. Let's get something straight. Learning isn't just for kids or for college students. Learning is training for the mind. It is the mental equivalent of going to the gym and lifting heavy. But most of us, most guys, we stop learning right about the time we leave school. We master our jobs, we get good at our routines, and then we coast. We stop reading, we stop exploring, we stop challenging ourselves. And then one day we wake up wondering why life feels smaller, duller, emptier. And that's not just age, that's stagnation. Your brain is a muscle, brother. The minute you stop working it, and it's going to atrophy just like anything else. Mental strength isn't built through information consumption. It's built through intentional learning, and that takes discipline. You've got to approach your mind the same way you approach your physical training, with structure and consistency and progressive overload. Guys, Read daily, even if it's just for 10 minutes, and not just the stuff that confirms what you already know and what you already believe. Read things that stretch you, things that make you think, things that maybe even tick you off a little. If you're someone who's been in a fitness bubble for a year, read something on philosophy or finance or theology. If you're a political junkie, read something from the other side. If you've never read a book by someone you completely agree with, start there. Because here's the deal. When you expose yourself to new ideas, even ones that you don't buy into, your thinking sharpens. You start to understand why you believe what you believe, or you adjust when the evidence demands it. That, guys, that's real growth. That's maturity. That's leadership. That's mental strength. And look, I get it. Reading takes time, but you've got time. You might just be wasting it. Turn your commute into a classroom. Trade 30 minutes of social media for 30 minutes of a great audiobook. Replace noise with nourishment. And here's another discipline that builds mental strength, and that's curiosity. Ask more questions. Be the man who says, tell me more, instead of, I already know. Because humility isn't weakness, it's the gateway to wisdom. The mentally strong man isn't the loudest one in the room, never is, but he's the one who's still learning, still growing, still evolving. So let's try something new this week. Pick up a book. Pick one book or an audiobook on a subject completely outside your comfort zone and commit to finishing it in this next month. Something that challenges your thinking, your habits, maybe even your identity a little bit. Because comfort builds complacency, but curiosity builds capacity. And guys, the man who keeps learning never stops leveling up. Because that's what it's all about here, right? We all want to level up. So let's learn to build some resilience through adversity. Look, comfort is killing us. We've built our entire lives around avoiding friction. Climate-controlled homes, instant food, same routines, no risk, no challenge, no discomfort. And then we wonder why we feel weak. Resilience doesn't come from avoiding hardship. It comes from leaning into it. It's forged in struggle, in stress, in moments when you want to quit, but you don't. And the men we admire, the warriors, the leaders, the greats, they didn't get there by living easy lives. They got there because they walked through hell and they came out stronger. They learned that adversity isn't punishment, it's preparation. So every time life knocks you down, you got two options. You can stay down and make excuses, or you can stand up and make adjustments. That's resilience. That's mental strength in action. And look, you don't need to wait for some life crisis to toughen up. You can train resistance daily. You do it by deliberately choosing challenge over comfort. Take the cold shower, skip the elevator and take the stairs. Put your phone down and just sit by yourself in silence. Fast for a day. Lift heavier than you want to. Say no when it would be easier to say yes. Each of these things teaches your brain a powerful lesson, and that's this: I can do hard things. Because that's the essence of resilience. You condition your mind to stay calm and capable when life turns up the heat. Let's face it, life is going to turn up the heat. When everyone else panics, you stay centered. When everyone else collapses, you adapt. And it's not about being fearless necessarily, but it's about moving forward despite that fear. It's not about never breaking down. It's about building yourself stronger every single day. And guys, I want you to really think about this. The adversity some of you are facing right now, the thing that's testing you, frustrating you, breaking you down, maybe it's not here to destroy you. Maybe it's here to develop you, to strengthen you. That fire you're walking through is forging the steel that you're going to need for whatever comes next. That's why comfort is dangerous, because comfort feels good, but it robs you of growth. Adversity feels terrible in the moment, but it builds the man. There's a quote I love, and I can't remember who says this, but it's something along the lines of, the man who loves walking is going to walk further than the man who loves the destination. In other words, fall in love with the process, fall in love with the challenge, fall in love with the friction that forges you. So if you want to become resilient, don't wait for life to force it on you. Go seek it. Choose hard things on purpose, because every time you do, you train your mind to stay strong, steady, and dangerous no matter what comes your way. All right, guys, so let's talk about how we apply this. Let's talk about the path forward, because none of this matters if it just stays as inspiration or motivation. You are not going to build mental strength by listening to podcasts, this one or any other one. You build it by doing the work. So here's the mindset. Treat your mind like a muscle. You train it, you feed it, you rest it, you challenge it. If you want to stay mentally sharp, you need a plan. Just like you got a workout plan for your body. Let's break this down. I want you guys to think about some daily mental training routines. So every day you're going to do something that keeps your mind engaged and disciplined. You want to feed your mind intentionally. Maybe you read 10 pages of a book. You listen to a podcast that challenges your thinking. You watch a documentary that teaches you something new. Don't just scroll, study. I want you guys to take some time and reflect. Maybe you take 5 minutes right before bed and ask yourself, where did I win today? Where did I slip? What did I learn? Reflection turns that experience into wisdom. Another thing I want you guys to do is practice stillness. Sit in silence, pray, meditate, breathe. Learn to be comfortable in your own head. A man who can't be alone with his thoughts is a man who's lost control of them. So there's some ideas for some daily habits. Let's talk about maybe some weekly growth habits. Maybe every week, pick one thing that stretches you. Maybe you commit to reading one chapter from a new book, not a familiar one. Maybe you have a hard conversation this week that you've been avoiding. Maybe you try a new skill, a new hobby, or a new experience that humbles you, because humility keeps you teachable and teachability keeps you dangerous, guys. And if you want to supercharge your mental resilience, make physical hardship part of your mental training. Think cold showers or cold plunges. Think fasting. Think hard workouts. They're not just physical challenges. They're mental sharpening stones. And then, guys, once a month, do something that scares you. Get out of your comfort zone and do something that forces you to grow. Maybe it's speak in public or take a class on a subject that you know nothing about. Sign up for a race or an event that's going to test your grit. Maybe you volunteer somewhere that pulls you way out of your comfort zone. Because when you do things that stretch you, life's ordinary stressors start to feel lighter and you start to realize, I can handle this. And that belief, that quiet confidence, that's mental strength. And guys, always guard your inputs. Remember, your mind is always being trained, whether you like it or not. So guard it. If you're constantly consuming negativity, fear, and outrage, don't be surprised when your mind mirrors it. Be intentional about what and who you let into your head. Surround yourself with strong men. Men who call you up, not coddle you down. Men who challenge you to think bigger, better, and to stay sharp. Iron sharpens iron, but only if you're willing to rub against the friction. Guys, this path isn't glamorous. You're not going to get a trophy for it, but over time, you're going to notice something powerful. When life hits hard, you don't break. You bend, you adjust, you rise. That's the reward for doing this work. Calm confidence under chaos. A mind that can't be rattled. A man who stays strong no matter what storm rolls in. That's the mental edge. And that's how you live strong, physically, mentally, emotionally, morally, and spiritually. All right, guys, let's bring this thing home. You can build the biggest biceps, the strongest squat, the leanest, badassest physique. But if you don't have control of your mind, you're one bad day away from losing it all. The mind is the command center. It's where your habits are born. It's where your resolve is tested. It's where your future gets decided. One thought, one decision, one moment at a time. So here's your challenge. This week, I want you to do something deliberately uncomfortable. Read a book that challenges your worldview. Have a conversation with someone who sees things differently. Then listen more than you speak. Wake up earlier than you want to. Take a cold shower. Skip that easy dopamine hit and sit in silence instead. Whatever it is, pick one thing that tests your discipline and do it daily for the next 7 days. Because every time you do something hard on purpose, you build another brick in that fortress between your ears. And that's how you become unshakable. Look, the world does not need any more comfortable men. We need strong men now more than ever. Men with conviction, curiosity, and courage. Men who aren't afraid to say, I don't know, but I'll find out. Men who keep sharpening their minds so they can lead their families, their communities, and themselves with wisdom and strength. So don't let this episode just be motivation. Let it be marching orders. Start today. Train your mind. Seek truth. Stay humble. Stay hungry. Stay curious. Stay dangerous. And guys, if this episode hit home, do me a favor and share it with a brother who needs it. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe so you don't miss next week's episode where we're going to dig into the third pillar of strength, emotional strength, emotional mastery, and how to control your emotions before they control you. Until then, guys, stand tall, stay strong, and keep building your edge. Okay, men, that's our show for this week. Don't forget to download our free guide titled How to Raise Your Testosterone Naturally. You can find the download link in the show notes for this episode on whatever app you're listening to this podcast on. If you've enjoyed today's show, here are 3 ways you can support us. Number 1, share this episode with a friend. Number 2, make sure to like and follow this show, and please consider leaving us a 5-star review. Number 3, give us a follow over at Instagram. We're at Alpha Edge Army. So that's Alpha Edge Army all run together. I really appreciate you men taking the time to listen. And until next week, stay strong.